Welcome to Staples.
Staples Guy, I've resolved to save my office money in 2017.
Well, during Staples' January printing event, you save big when you buy one HP ink and get the second 40% off.
Oh, that kind of savings will impress the boss. Maybe this year he'll stop calling me New Guy Nick.
Well, there are worse nicknames.
I've worked there 6 years, and my name's Doug.
Resolve to save during Staples' January printing event. Buy one HP ink and get the second 40% off. Staples, make more happen.
Ends 1/14/17. See store staples.com for details. Restrictions may apply.
I am Vampiro. Hey, what's up, players? This is Teddy Long. Hey, this is Nick Aldis, a.k.a. Magnus.
This is Michael Tarver, a.k.a. Monster Tarver.
This is Tito Santana. This is Donovan Dijak from Ring of Honor.
This is Eric Young.
Hey, this is Rich Bocchini, formerly known as Rich Brennan from WWE. You are listening to Main Event Madness.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event. Are you ready?
Oh, yeah!
Woo!
And now, coming live from blogtalkradio.com and presented by Wrestling-News.net, it's Main Event Madness. Madness Unleashed. You can chat with us during the show using the hashtag MEM Live on Twitter or Facebook.com/Main Event Madness. And now, here are your hosts for tonight's show, John Curry, Mark Madison, and Mike Holland.
Okay, this time is for real. Welcome to Main Event Madness, September 15th edition of the broadcast, at least for the next 119 minutes. I'm your host, John Curry, alongside, well, a variation of our normal crew. If he can hear me, and I'm praying that he can, from TJWrestling.net, it is Brandon Lasher. Hello, sir. Hello. Finally. Okay. How are you doing tonight, sir? And I apologize for the issues earlier. I'll get into that in just a second.
Doing pretty good. Here on the West Coast, just had dinner and ready to talk about wrestling.
There we go. And with us also tonight, making, I believe, his second appearance ever as a co-host, is none other than one of the most intelligent minds to come out of New York City. He's the host of Legends TV that airs each and every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern on MadhouseTV.com. Evan Ginzburg.
Thank you so much, John. I've never been noted as one of the most intelligent minds to come out of New York, but I am flattered. Thank you. Thank you.
And unfortunately, we have a Browns fan joining us tonight. No, I'm joking. Also,
I'm the only straight male in America who doesn't watch football.
you may be.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. Also joining us tonight, he just made it in the nick of time. Formerly of Dunfee's Dosed and Force of Wrestling podcast. You guys heard him on here a few weeks ago. Christopher Michael Dunfee.
Hey, how's it going?
If you can hear me.
I can hear you just fine, John. I just
I'm telling you.
You're so shocked by introduction. Yeah, keep on.
But
A basic of radio is that the guest and co-host can hear you. So we got to work on that.
So it's not on my end. This is on Blog Talk's end. I'm gonna blame Blog Talk.
How do I sound to you guys?
This time. Especially when I look at the thing and it tells me, good connection.
Yeah, because John, I could hear you perfect, and Evan, I cannot hear at all.
city radio station, and we had a blackout. And we're sitting in the station in the middle of the night with the lights off and nothing whatsoever going on in the pitch black. So these things do happen, listeners. And bear with John because he's a technical.
I would not go that far. Okay, Dunfee, if you can hear me, and I'm pretty sure he can.
Perfect.
We are calling him right now.
Who?
I feel like, who the hell is this 305 area code calling from?
Are you there?
I apologize to listeners for the past 5 minutes of their life that they'll never get back.
Your call.
Well, we don't want to put his cell phone number on the air, that's for sure. Dunfee, I'm trying to get you on here for whatever reason. If I can do a show where I can't hear the audio clips on Blog Talk Radio, I'm pretty sure Mark and everybody else will rejoice.
We got the three of us, right? That's a start.
Yes.
I think we need like 7 people like the WWE pre-shows where they just have a name chatter for the entire pre-shows. There's like a small army of announcers on there saying nothing.
Right.
Hello.
Chris, can you hear us?
I can hear John perfectly as it does.
You can't hear me?
I can hear him now.
There you go.
So with us tonight is for the first time ever, a football fan from the state of Ohio. I got to rag on him a little bit, especially.
Yeah, my Ohio State Buckeyes, one of the best college football teams in football history. Highly scouted.
Very true. So, all right.
That really hurts that mustang over here as an Oregon Duck.
All right, so I'm going to get this out of the way. So we tried to do the show at 8 o'clock. We tried to do the show at 8:30. For whatever reason, I couldn't hear the guys, and I feel really bad, and I feel even worse when I found out the reason why I couldn't hear the guys. I had the microphone or the headphone plugged into the wrong jack of the mixer.
Oh, wow. Way to go.
And I'm looking at this, I'm like, what the fuck is going wrong with this? I'm like, I didn't mess up anything that badly. So my headphones that I use for my show are my normal headphones. Like, I'll bring them to work and stuff. And I'm looking at it. I pick up the mixer, and I'm like, what is wrong with this that it's not working? And then I look down. I'm like, wait a minute. That's a line in. Okay, wait a minute. Motherfucker. Headphones are over there. This is over here. Okay. And I plug it in, and I'm talking to Mark on the phone.
Have the MVP of the night.
Talking about RG3?
You could get an above average house pet and train them to plug the thing in the right hole.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. It is heartwarming. Thank you.
Yeah. I will say that our radio listeners missed my amazing conversation with Mark earlier about the Cruiserweight Classic that no one will ever hear. It's very sad.
However, you do get to have an amazing conversation with myself, Evan Ginzburg, and Chris Dunfee with Mark's blessing.
Oh, okay. That works too.
All right.
This is a historic evening because yours truly is going to praise a WWE product to the hilt. That Cruiserweight Classic last night was such a tremendous show from start to finish that it was almost schizophrenic when you think that the same company puts out Raw, which is generally 3 hours of your life you'll never get back. I can't even grasp that the same company does both those shows. Because that Cruiserweight Classic yesterday was like watching a New Japan show. That's how good it was.
Well, it's not the same company. Triple H is doing the Cruiserweight Classic. Vince McMahon is doing WWE.
Well, let's say under the same so cutting the check. So,
On the bright side, it should get you excited for the future of WWE when you realize that's the guy who's going to be taking over for Vince. Hopefully sooner rather than later.
Well, what's really unfortunate is that we get to see the Cruiserweight division under Vince McMahon's control every Monday night on Raw.
Please, we had Evan happy. Don't make him depressed.
yeah, as of Monday, they'll be throwing 6 guys aimlessly together and give them 4 minutes to do 37 high spots. And that's grasp why the Cruiserweight Classic works so well.
18-man tag team match coming up next. Live on Raw with a 5...
Give us your all.
So I'm going to go around the horn here really quick. I want to know, what do you guys think about the Cruiserweight Championship?
Well, my number one takeaway from it is why the hell is it pretty much, it looks like a SmackDown belt to me, and it's going to be on Monday Night Raw. That was the first thing that caught my eye.
Diversity.
I like it for the most part. I've seen where people have said it was purple, but I mean, in my opinion, it looks kind of like the same shade of colors as the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. So I was kind of thrown off by that a little bit as to what, the Cruiserweight title is going to be on Raw, yet it looks like exactly like a championship that's going to be on SmackDown.
You're talking about the physical belt itself, what it looks like?
Yeah.
Your initial reactions to the purple belt or blue belt, as it may be, that
If it was good enough for Prince, it's good enough for TJ Perkins. I think it was fine. I could care less what the belt looks like. I just want to see good wrestling.
I mean, I like the look of the belt, but at the end of the day, I agree with Evan.
I never understand when I see like 40-year-old guys coming to the arena with belts draped around their shoulders. Like that's really going to help your social life. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I'm sorry. Well, I actually had a wrestling title myself, but the only reason I had it draped over my shoulder at the show was because I had nowhere else to put it without somebody taking it. But I would definitely not take it with me to a future show to wear it, which I have done. It is hanging up in my bedroom as we speak.
guilty as charged twice. I brought the WWE Championship to WrestleMania, and I brought the Rated R Championship to NXT.
But you're not 40. It's sad. Once you hit 40, it's sad. I'm sorry.
Good thing I have 15 years before I get there. Yeah. I have 3/5 of my life so far before I get there, so I'm good.
You got permission to wear a belt.
So I can wear a belt for the next 15 years.
Well, I got a pretty funny story about that, John. The title belt that I had purchased on Monday Night Raw.
Was it the Divas title?
Yeah, it was definitely the Divas title. It was actually, all right, you know how The Rock got that new title after he beat CM Punk, right? And then Brock Lesnar got a new title. They I don't know how to really put it. You know what I mean? How they changed it up a little bit and
they put the network logo on it.
Yeah, I literally bought that belt. I bought the belt before they changed it, 2 weeks before they changed it. So I was completely heartbroken when I seen that new belt.
I would be heartbroken. I like that belt.
Because those belts weren't cheap, and I was like, wow, I really just bought this belt, and then they changed it 2 weeks later. Are you kidding me?
See, I wouldn't be heartbroken. I liked the WWE title before the network logo on it.
I mean, I did too, but it was just one of those things where it's like, wow, really, this was my life. But life goes on. It is still, part of my room. The belt that was embarrassing was when Cena's belt used to spin. I thought that was very...
Hey, watch it. I got that on top of my dresser right now. Well, granted, it was Edge's with Edge's logo in it, but still.
Did Edge's belt spin?
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Don't worry, belt number 4 will be in the collection pretty soon.
While we're speaking of titles, I got a question for both of you guys. I know a lot of people give Cena a bunch of crap about his title belt, that's fun and all this stuff. What were your guys' thoughts back during the Attitude Era when Stone Cold had the Smoking Skull Championship?
Absolute favorite belt.
What were your thoughts, Evan?
I barely noticed. I could care less. I'm not a belt guy.
Unless it's the one holding up his pants.
Yeah, when my belt is a little frayed, I get upset. So I buy a new one. That's my engine.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems pretty fair to me. I mean, it looks cool with the skull and all, but I agree. I think people place a lot of emphasis on belts.
Yeah, I just thought it was really strange, though, that it was, it's going to be on Raw, yet it was the same color as the rest of the belts on SmackDown. I just felt that was a little strange. That was, like, one of my takeaways. But other than that, I'm perfectly fine with the design of it and everything. I just thought it was quite strange that it's going to be on Raw when it, you know what I mean? They put all this emphasis on the colors of the belt between the two brands, yet they made that blue and it's going to be on Monday Night Raw. That was my first takeaway from it, but ultimately I'm perfectly fine with it. I think it's a decent design. It's nothing too crazy. I mean, I like it for the most part. I don't have any problems with it. Like I said, I just think the whole blue-purple thing threw me for a loop a little bit initially when I first seen it.
I hate to tell you guys, but at this point, they have way too many belts, and it diminishes the value of them. I mean, everybody and his mother's walking around with the title. So,
Well, Evan, if you think about it, when they unified the World Heavyweight title with the WWE title, you really didn't have that many titles, and I thought, great, here's an awesome opportunity for WWE to make the Intercontinental Championship or United States Championship mean something. And granted, they tried here and there with Daniel Bryan's reign and John Cena's reign, but ultimately, I mean, I never understood how WWE looked. The WWE, all right, like granted, I understood the brand split, but when they got rid of the brand split and had the WWE Championship and the World Heavyweight Championship, they still booked the World Heavyweight Championship with some sort of prestige. Yet, to me, it was like, why could you not then take the Intercontinental title and book it the same way you were booking the World Heavyweight Championship? Because that's pretty much all the World Heavyweight title was when the brand split was over. Was like, well, you know what I mean? Like a secondary title anyway. So why not put that same emphasis they put on the World Heavyweight title on the Intercontinental title once they unified belts?
you want to know something? If you take it from just a logical point of view, the universe is bigger than the world. The universe is more important than the world. So technically, AJ's title is more important than Kevin Owens' title, although SmackDown is the far lesser of the two shows. So it doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense. So I think.
Well, it's not for Universal.
Title to really make it clear.
Well, it's not Universal because of the universe. It's Universal because of the WWE fans. It's basically the fans belt, the WWE Universe.
That universe, I see. I thought you meant like the galaxy when I saw the Universal title.
And in honor of the fans, they give them a Fruit Roll-Up looking belt, right?
Hey, Fruit Roll-Ups are good.
They are good, but do we want it on a wrestling belt?
I'm not quite sure. Is that a penalty on the Bills, by the way?
I don't know. You're distracted by football.
I am not distracted by football. My chair got caught in my desk. I turned around to move it, and I just happened to see the referee saying something, but I couldn't hear it because I'm paying attention to my radio show.
I usually have my head turned away from the TV, and when I hear like Cesaro or Owens or somebody's on that I like, I turn around.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing. John, who's playing right now?
Oh, it would be Jets and Bills.
Oh, okay, I'm not too worried about that.
Trust me, I am.
I know Evan's very excited about it.
So
Yeah.
let's talk. We talked the Cruiserweight Championship, which I thought it was hilarious that TJ Perkins got the Cruiserweight title, the trophy, and the medal for winning. And I'm like, what did Grand Metalik get? A slap in the ass? And I'm like, hey, thanks. You know, hopefully we'll sign you, kid. Did he?
Yeah, I remember them giving him the medal after he won his match.
He got free dry cleaning on the mat. Basically,
Yeah, that's probably it. No, because they're not at the WWE show. They're at the NXT arena, so they probably don't even have that.
His prize is jobbing LeBron Strowman on Monday Night Raw.
They gave him half price off on the bus on the Greyhound ticket back to Tijuana. Can you imagine?
I got it.
Still have Greyhound buses?
They sure do.
I got it, Evan. I got it. The Cruiserweight division's debut. You know who it's going to be? A 20-on-1 handicap match. The Cruiserweight division versus Braun Strowman.
Took a Greyhound 14 hours from New York to Shortsville, Virginia, and Jimmy Valiant was waiting for me at the terminal. I couldn't make that up. 14 hours.
Well, yeah, I used to ride the Greyhound a lot when I was a little kid, but I hardly ever see it anymore. And that was a legitimate question if they still did have Greyhounds.
Oh, they do.
I haven't seen any in quite some time.
I thought Amtrak was bad.
Greyhound gets you where you want to go, but takes a bit.
All you East Coasters and your Amtrak and Greyhounds.
Well, I'm sorry we don't have freaking Elon Musk and what's that Hyperloop or whatever it is that's going to be coming to you West Coasters.
Hey, it'll be good, right?
Bastard.
Good old Elon Musk.
Unless you're the SpaceX rocket, in which case Facebook's pissed.
The wrestling conversations we have on the show, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so let's move on here, guys. The Cruiserweight Classic finals last night that I did not get to watch because I had to be to work at 5:30 this morning. So I'm going to let Brandon take the lead here.
Okay. So what do you want me to talk about? The show yesterday?
The show overall. First of all, Evan, you watched the show. You were actually amazed that WWE could put on a decent product. Chris, did you watch the show?
What's really ironic about it was that I did not watch it, and I was sitting here really bored. I was about to get on WWE Network and watch the Cruiserweight Classic.
And you fell asleep.
Literally not even 2 minutes later, I get a message from the Mr. John Curry. Would you like to come on and talk wrestling? I said, sure. What are we going to talk about? The Cruiserweight Classic. And I was like, oh, great. I got 2 minutes. So hopefully somebody else has watched it. I can jump in on the next segment. So the floor is all yours, whoever has seen the Cruiserweight Classic thus far. Don't worry. I know what happened. I'm not worried about spoilers or anything.
This is a spoiler alert.
I actually did stay up late and watched it, so I'm good.
The floor is yours, sir.
Show, and I can honestly say that I've watched Raw from the very first episode pretty much, and
I'm so
I don't
sorry.
think I've ever seen an episode of Raw where every match was good, very good, or excellent, and that's what happened on the Cruiserweight Classic yesterday. It took them 2 months to surpass 20 years of Raw, and I mean that sincerely. I mean, every match was a winner last night, and I'm not saying they were all Ricky Steamboat, Ric Flair, or Jack Briscoe and Dory Funk Jr., but they were all quality wrestling matches, worth your time, worth your emotional investment. And it was an excellent pro wrestling program. Notice I didn't say sports entertainment. It was wrestling elevated to an art form, and I was very impressed with it, and at the same time, very frustrated that you go back to Monday and you're going to see bad comedy and stilted dialogue and endless commercials. And, you know, I watched 3 hours of Raw the other night, and until Owens and Reigns came out, it was basically
a snooze fest.
Popcorn to the mind. If you put $1 million in front of me today, I could not tell you the results of Raw on Monday because it left me with nothing. So,
well, Evan, I do have a question for you because I really do respect your opinion. Something we haven't really touched on as far as the Cruiserweight Classic was I heard the tag team match received a lot of rave reviews with Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, and I forget who it was that they say. How was the tag team match? What were your thoughts on that?
It was good. It was good. I mean, you know, it wasn't an all-time classic, but 4 guys who worked well together and worked hard, and I enjoyed it. You know, I'm jaded. I mean, I've been going to wrestling since 1974, so I'm not going to, jump up and down, over every match I see on TV, but it was well worth seeing, and all 4 of those guys, were excellent, and, it's almost befuddling to realize that show was a WWE show. It's hard to wrap my head around it because it felt like you're watching like a New Japan pay-per-view or Ring of Honor on a good night, or
well, you did have. I was just curious because I've been, following Johnny Gargano's career for a long time because he was huge on the independent scene in Cleveland, Ohio, and that's my hometown. So I've always been curious as to his journey, and I'm glad to see him finally get, some of the recognition and stuff that he deserves. So I
saw him in New York years ago with Dragon Gate USA, and the guy's been good forever. It's nice that he's finally getting recognized, and he deserves it. He's worked hard, and again, he's a wrestler. He's not a buffoon. He's not doing bad comedy. The guy comes out and wrestles, and here's a basic: comedy is supposed to be funny. WWE comedy is not funny. Anybody over the age of 7, I would think the majority of those skits, they're just lame.
Oh, I agree. I mean, granted, over the years, you might, get one thing that I'll chuckle at or something like that. But for the most
3 hours,
part,
you should get one chuckle.
Yeah.
What did you think?
That's not a great percentage.
What did you think, Brandon?
Oh, no, not at all.
Of the Cruiserweight?
Yeah.
I don't feel. Well, first of all, I'm still shocked to hear Evan so excited about a WWE show. So that's pretty amazing in itself. But I definitely agree. I mean, the whole tournament from beginning to end has been set up more like a sport and a really good competition throughout. And the final was encapsulated all of that really perfectly. I mean, you can even literally look at what TJ Perkins looks like at the end of the match that he won. He's got all those welts and bruises and stuff from the kicks and punches and stuff he got from Kota Ibushi as well too. So they definitely worked pretty hard. And I mean, Evan's right. There's not a bad match on there. My favorite was probably the semifinal between Ibushi and TJ Perkins, but it's not like the other 3 matches were like terrible matches.
Yeah, every match was good, very good, or excellent. Absolutely. And when you had that interview at the end, you're watching TJ Perkins, and there's blood pouring. I should say pouring. There's blood coming from his chest. He's exhausted. He's exhilarated. It felt like a sport. It felt like it was something important. It felt like, it mattered. It actually mattered.
Well, Evan, actually listening to some people talk about it earlier today about the Cruiserweight Classic, they said it seemed like, the end of a UFC main event. You know what I mean? The presentation of it with Perkins standing there, with the belt wrapped around his waist and everything, like you said, like it fit something. It was special, you know, like a big time sporting event, you know, similar to like a UFC main event.
That was real. That was real. The guy busted his ass for 18 years, and he finally got acknowledged and seen by millions of people, and he reached the goal that he worked for all those years. That's all real, okay?
Yeah.
So, and it felt real. It felt real. When you watch, you know, Rusev and Lana, you go, this is a cartoon. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? So, you know, it's a choice. It's a choice. And here's my quote unquote dream as a wrestling fan. For the next couple of months, Nakamura wrestles Bobby Roode and Roderick Strong and has 4- and 5-star matches. They bring him up right before WrestleMania, and he wrestles AJ Styles in the greatest match in the history of WrestleMania. That's what I want to see as a wrestling fan. Okay? I don't want to see bad comedy. I don't need to see Enzo say the same exact thing every week and New Day dancing to the ring. It bores me.
Leave it so alone. Leave it so alone. Oh boy.
And don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I like these guys. But just let them do half as much shtick and twice as much wrestling. When the shtick becomes more than the wrestling, that's where I have a problem with it. You know?
Yeah.
That's just the downside of WWE being an entertainment company that features wrestling instead of being a wrestling company that features entertainment, which I think somewhere along the way WWE lost that.
You want to know something? They have so much money and so much talent and so much TV time. They could do it all. They could have it all. You know, the cruiserweight thing doesn't have to be the exception to the rule. You know, that could be part of what they present. And hopefully Triple H will convince Vince or whatever needs to be done, where every Raw and every SmackDown and every pay-per-view has a match like Ibushi and T.J. Perkins, because it's only going to elevate it. It's only going to
Because Evan, I mean, most of it's all about how you present it. A lot of it is presentation, and I mean, Vince, ever since he took it, you know, the company away from his father, has tried to present it as something else other than, you know, a sports-like feel and more like entertainment, which has been absolutely sad, but I mean, that's what we got to live with right now, and it's a shame.
But you want to know something? They have, I won't say unlimited, but virtually unlimited capita, unlimited income to do what they want to do. You know?
Oh, yeah.
We made the wrestler. They choose to make the Marine Corps. It's a choice. It's a choice. You know, you could create art or you could create product. It's a choice. Okay?
Right.
We did the wrestler on $6 million. That's it. $6 million. You know, which is nothing for movies. For people, can you imagine what the Avengers cost to make, or the last Star Wars movie? You know, you could create art on very little money, and it's a choice. You know, everything that they do, and they chose to do something great last night with the Cruiserweight Classics, and there it is. And it's a choice to continue with it, or it's a choice, like we said before, to have a 6-man or 8-man cruiserweight match and give them 4 minutes of TV time, and let the Miz talk for 18 minutes. It's a choice.
And it's just an absolute shame, because I mean, I don't know how many people agree with me about this, but people think I'm nuts when I say it, but I truly do believe this might be the best collection of talent WWE has had in many of years. And people just don't see it because the way these guys are being booked. And like you said, Evan, these 4-minute matches and, all these, promos being scripted and, the presentation, the bad
I'll take it a step further. I'll take it a step further. This is one of the greatest, if you include NXT, this is one of the greatest talent bases in the history of this business.
That's what I've been trying to get out.
Yeah, exactly. Except for maybe the NWA in the 80s when you had the Horsemen and the Rock and Roll Express and the Midnight Express and the Russians. And at the bottom of the card, you had guys like Billy Graham and mid-card, Billy Graham, Jimmy Valiant. That's how talent-laden that promotion was. Flair, of course, on top. But this talent base that WWE has, look at who they have on the top. You got Nakamura, AJ Styles, and Owens. If I were the booker, that's who I'd put on top. Okay? I mean, it's unbelievable. And then you watch a show like Raw, and you want to bang your head against the wall. Okay.
Oh yeah, and another thing that cracks me up, I had to bring this up because I seen this sign. I wouldn't believe it was on Raw, and I know you guys all know, even you have been seeing it on Facebook, how big of a fan of Bray Wyatt I am. And I seen it was hilarious. Somebody had a sign that said "Eater of Pinfalls." That's how he always says he's the eater of worlds, the eater of pinfalls. And it's like, how do you continually take this guy seriously if he continues to lose? You know what I mean? Like,
I absolutely agree with you. WWE puts out publicly, wins and losses don't matter. Bullshit.
Oh, but
they killed Dolph Ziggler.
It was Road Dogg.
Was it Road Dogg?
It was. That said on Twitter that wins and losses don't mean anything. And that's why so many...
I think it was in regards to Kevin Owens when he went on a little jobbing streak. And yeah, they said about wins and losses don't matter. It's like, you know what? I mean, like, bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, you can't tell me, wins and losses don't matter.
Kevin Owens.
That's why when Ziggler became the number one contender against Ambrose at SummerSlam. Is Ziggler capable of being a number one contender to a guy, for the World Heavy or for the WWE Championship? Absolutely. Have they built him to be that guy? Hell no. That's why everybody thought it was a joke when he was named the number one contender. Can he be that guy? Absolutely. Has WWE presented him as that guy? Absolutely not. And like I said, you can't take a guy like Bray Wyatt seriously who comes out and does these phenomenal promos and he can't back it up. And, it's just like they're so lost with everything. They have like no direction whatsoever. And it's just like you could see the struggle there too with Triple H and Vince McMahon. And one thing I do like about Triple H is he really is trying to change the presentation, and you can see it with the Cruiserweight Classic of it being more of like a sports-based, presentation more so than a sports entertainment base. I mean, granted, yeah, there are kids that you gotta, try to. Well, I don't know how many of you guys heard this. Have any of you guys heard the Freddie Prinze Jr. story about what Vince McMahon told him?
No.
Nope.
You guys, nobody.
Only you are privy to this information.
Okay, so you guys know who Sam Roberts is, right?
Yeah. Podcast.
Right. So Sam Roberts did a podcast, and he had Freddie Prinze Jr. on. And you know how Freddie Prinze Jr. worked backstage for a little bit as like a writer or whatever it was. Do you guys remember that back in, I believe it was the late 2000s?
I'm so old, I remember his dad. Yeah.
But, well, you guys remember how he worked for the company, right, behind the scenes. Well, he said one day they were on a private jet, and they were getting ready to go somewhere for an event. And Freddie Prinze Jr. was on his laptop, and he brought up a video of Richard Pryor's stand-up. And Vince McMahon walked past and seen Freddie Prinze Jr. watching Richard Pryor do stand-up comedy. And Vince McMahon asked him, hey, why are you watching that? And Freddie Prinze was like, I want to watch something funny. I want to, get to a good mood, a funny mood. And Vince said, well, hell, why don't you watch WrestleMania 30 on the WWE Network, we have Santino. Like, he thinks that, wrestling is to have something for everybody type thing. Like, that's the way Vince looks at it. He really told Freddie Prinze Jr. that why would you need to watch Richard Pryor when you can watch Santino on WrestleMania?
That's right. When you think of the Mount Rushmore of comedy, it's Richard Pryor, Lenny Bruce, George Carlin, and Santino Morello. That's pretty much
absolutely. But I just thought that was the most outrageous thing I had ever heard when, he brought that up, and I was just like, wow, I cannot believe, he really has that mentality about his product.
You want to know something? There's nothing wrong with a little comedy in wrestling. Even some of the great heels would say funny things, and the Valiant Brothers and Billy Graham was funny. These, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just Morocco was funny, but when it just becomes slapstick, where it's just juvenile and it's not funny generally. It's a choice. Again, everything is a choice. Look, I do TV. I host a 90-minute show every week. Okay, it's a blank canvas. They have a 3-hour program on Monday, a 2-hour program on Tuesday, main event, whatever, an hour. They have a canvas and they decide what to do with that canvas, how they're going to paint it. And, the Cruiserweights yesterday, I thought that was a masterpiece. I thought it was great. And other nights, I just cringe. Let me rephrase that. I'm numb from it sometimes. I'm just numb. It's just endless. You just go, oh my God, I should have watched the movie tonight. Why didn't I watch a good movie? Yeah.
So I was just kind of stunned by that Freddie Prinze Jr. And, and that's not really a slight at Santino, because he did the best work he could. He did what he could with WWE.
That's the role they gave him. So he was put in a comedy role. R-Truth is put in a comedy role, so they're going to do the best with what's given to them. You can't blame that on the wrestler. They're doing. It's like an actor that's what he's paid to do. I understand that. But when I watch a guy like R-Truth, who I know is a great worker, I'm kind of like, it's a shame you're not seeing the guy in 4-star matches.
Who is it? R-Truth, you said?
Yeah.
Which the worst part about him was the one time they gave him a chance to be a main eventer, they gave him such a bullshit character that.
Another person too. Speaking of R-Truth, Goldust. I mean, look how great of a talent he is. And, I'd like to see them go back and, let's get a heel Goldust. I mean, granted, you really can't be as risque as you once were with Goldust back during the Attitude Era, or, even when he first came in. But granted, I think a heel Goldust, going back a little bit to his roots would be a nice change of pace instead of this comedy act. Like, I really enjoyed when Goldust and Cody Rhodes won the tag team championships from the Shield, and that little run they had there. I mean, I would just really like to see Goldust too, another person, who's been stuck in this whole comedy act routine with R-Truth, who can, be a really solid veteran to help some of these guys out. I mean, I could see, whether it be face or heel for Goldust, make him more of a serious threat. You've seen what he did for Sheamus's career back in ECW, back in the reincarnation of ECW. Goldust and Sheamus had an amazing feud, and he did wonders for Sheamus's career. And you could see where Goldust could do that for another, young guy coming up. I mean, I'll even say his name again, Bray Wyatt. There's just plenty of people that Goldust can work with as a serious character and really help put some of these guys over and really let them gain some experience working with a guy like that, instead of having him do all these backstage comedy routines that are just absolute jokes.
Goldust is a solid wrestler with charisma, and it's just, I'd rather see him wrestle. Want to know something? At their age, Goldust and R-Truth, I'm sure they're grateful that they're doing more comedy and less wrestling. It's less of a toll on the body, and it works for them. They're getting a decent payday.
Well, they don't have to do it. They don't have to do it full time. I mean, you can do it part time. You know what I mean? You could have Goldust do his backstage promos and stuff like that, which I do understand. Yeah, they are getting older and everything, but they have so much talent on the roster right now to where they wouldn't have to work, every single week, especially with the brand split being, brought back in. So, I mean, I would like to see them in better. I just put it this way: either send them, of their future endeavors, or just, put them in a different role. All it is a rehash of the Booker T Goldust thing, which I personally didn't even find it as funny as the fans did for some reason.
Now, you hit a good point with the talent on the WWE roster, and this past Sunday, WWE tried to showcase their talent with WWE Backlash. We got about 10 minutes left to go before we get ready to wrap up. So let's touch a little bit on Backlash this past Sunday, and I'll start with Brandon first. What match on the night stood out to you the most?
It's been an interesting conversation listening to people here too. For me, I'd say my favorite one on the show. I mean, I actually like the show a lot. I mean, I thought what the WWE did good with it was they kept it to like 2.5 hours. They kept it packed and concise. It's not really a match I dislike. The best one is, I mean, it's AJ Styles, right? I mean, he's probably the best wrestler in the company. You make that case. And his match with Dean was a really good match.
Yeah, I thought that match was great. I also thoroughly enjoyed, much to Evan's chagrin, the Intercontinental title match.
You beat me to it, John.
That, hands down, may have been Miz's best match of his career.
I think he's been on I don't know what we're thinking of the promo, but I think he's definitely been on a role character-wise since that promo with Daniel Bryan.
Well, he did say there's been 132 Intercontinental champions, but I think there's only been 78 in a promo he just recently did. I think it might have been on Tuesday, actually. So, but other than that, yeah, I think the Miz has been on fire with his promos. But yeah, like John said, much to Evan's chagrin, that I thought that was probably one of the best matches of the evening for me as well. But what more do you have to touch on that match, John?
I just thought it was a good story, that it was more Miz being a heel, but also the more sympathetic character. Despite the finish, I felt Miz was more sympathetic because of the fact that all the people calling him a coward, and it's like, yeah, but that's worked to his benefit character-wise. And I mean, he's made it work. I'm sure he's seen people say that, and he's probably adapted it into his in-ring style to get more heat. And I don't know, just something about Miz the last few weeks is really clicking. I'm really almost enjoying the Miz's character. Like, I want to see where this angle with Bryan and the contract thing goes. I want to see whether or not that means he moves to Raw, whether or not it could mean a main event push. I'm actually interested in the Miz's character, which is something I haven't been able to say in 6 years since he won Money in the Bank.
Yeah. Well, John, actually, one thing that you might be overlooking with Miz being so strong here lately that a lot of people have been overlooking is what Maurice has brought to the Miz's act. And I applaud whoever brought that idea to the table to bring Maurice back as his valet, because I think she's definitely been a valuable enhancement to his act, recently. So I think that might be another thing, John, that might be helping elevate Miz to the point where he's at right now.
I think I was going to say that was that Maurice is kind of playing that like old school kind of manager role that they've kind of let go away, and she's been playing it really well. So it's
what Lana was playing really well until they ruined her.
Until they ruined Lana, that's a good way to say it.
Yeah.
They ruined Lana by adapting real life into a storyline.
Sometimes it works.
And sometimes it doesn't.
This is definitely a doesn't. At this point, I'd say Lana should just leave because Rusev can actually handle a lot of the stuff by himself.
I actually seen something that surprised me. They had an advertisement for a new WWE movie coming out, and I didn't even realize it. I want to say it's starring Dolph Ziggler or Dean Ambrose. I don't know who's the lead. But Lana's in the movie too. Did you guys know that? Yeah, Lana was filming a movie. And yeah, I didn't even know that until I unfortunately seen the preview for the movie and the DVD cover.
Her and Edge.
Oh, it's Edge. I thought it was Ambrose or Ambrose or Ziggler for some reason. But
what's hilarious about this is the fact how they try to cover up Lana's or blatantly talking like regular English in this movie. Like they put out a video on their YouTube page.
Yeah.
Watch Lana try to talk English. Just like, get the fuck out of here.
How does she do it?
And it's just like, come on, just.
It's okay. We know her name is CJ Perry, and she's from Florida.
Yeah.
We all knew she was on the show on what was it, HBO or whatever. Wasn't she on Banshee?
She's also in Pitch Perfect, so it's like we know she's an American.
She was in Pitch Perfect.
I sadly know.
Where was WWE to promote that?
I know, right? They missed that. Well, where was the need to promote all of Cena's great work, right? And all those R-rated movies.
Oh yeah, especially Trainwreck.
Cena the drug dealer. Cena the drug dealer.
Sisters, yeah. That TV is all over the internet too, so I'm sure they love that. I think I've seen that posted on Facebook today.
Evan, have you seen Cena as a drug dealer?
No.
Look it up on YouTube. John Cena drug dealer. It's actually pretty funny.
I'll have to send you guys a Freddie Prinze Jr. piece too, where he was talking about this, what I was telling you guys about. I think you guys would be interested in hearing that story.
So, interesting tidbit. Oh, go ahead.
Back to Backlash, I had a question for you guys. What did you guys think about the Usos heel turn?
I thought it's pretty good.
Yeah, they're good, and I like the fact that they did the black tights and evil beards. It's like the '70s all over again.
It's just right. It's your cup of tea, Evan.
Yeah, they learned that from the Samoans.
I also like the fact that they kind of changed their moveset too, right? Doing some more like work on the legs and stuff like that too. And it's like I wish when people change from like good guys to bad guys, they would do that more often, where they would.
And then 3, 2, 1. No, okay. I was waiting to see if Evan was going to bring up Big Show's 714 turns.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, did you guys notice those Titantron still said hard in the tape, even though they ditched the tape?
Do you expect WWE to do work, you silly boy?
Come on, Titantron is hard.
It is.
Yeah, I just thought that was pretty funny.
They'll change it, but yeah, I like the fact that
They'll change it when they turn babyface.
it's Big Show.
Yeah.
All right, so we're coming up on 5 minutes to the hour, and I want to be able to give these two gentlemen something to plug here for coming on the show. And if Chris, if you by chance have something you want to plug, you're more than welcome to. But
I'll just go ahead and do it. If you want to add me on Facebook at Christopher Michael Dunfee, and if you're ever down to talk wrestling or want my opinions on anything, be sure to add me as a friend on Facebook.
Ask Christopher Michael Dunfee. I haven't joined the Twitter universe yet. That might be coming here soon. So as soon as that does, I'll be sure to let everybody know.
And there you go. So, Brandon, what do you have either already released this week or coming up on TJR Wrestling?
Well, I've gotten in the habit, which I've kind of enjoyed, writing a column called 22 things or 25 things, where I just mainly do like a couple paragraphs or snarky comments or positive comments about things I learned from the WWE pay-per-views.
Oh, dear Lord.
It's about May, and I put one up last Sunday. It was 22 things I learned from WWE Backlash. And as I said, I'm listening to people's conversations. I was pretty happy with Backlash. I actually enjoyed SmackDown more than I enjoy Raw, because I think it's like a more kind of compact show. So Backlash was a pretty solid show, and I'm sure I'll have another things I learned for Clash of Champions.
That you actually learned things from pay-per-views? I am beyond impressed with you. 22 things. Most of them negative?
Actually, no. I was listening to the conversation earlier, and I'm like, I must just be the eternal optimist. There's a lot of things I've been enjoying on the show.
God bless you.
I know. Someone has to be the optimist on the show, right?
Absolutely. Especially since it's not me if you listen to me in the last, 3 months.
Yeah. Well,
Which, anybody who says I'm a WWE, pure WWE fan, that may be true, but at the same time, I will not hesitate to give them shit. I'm an equal opportunity hatist.
I'm a little concerned in the last couple of weeks. The optimist of the WWE has been Evan.
That's when you know things are in the toilet.
I think Nakamura is the finest wrestler in the world, and AJ Styles is right behind him. And some people would say vice versa. And the cruiserweights were great, and there's a lot of positive things to talk about. And Owens is fabulous. Owens, not only is he a great wrestler, he can talk. Rollins can't talk. A lot of these guys can't talk. Owens can talk.
Oh, I'm
Now,
so happy it's going to be Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins one-on-one. I was scared
It'd be
to
great.
death that
It'd be
Roman
great.
Reigns was, I was scared to death Roman Reigns was going to be added into that. And it'd be a triple threat, but I am really looking forward to seeing Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins one-on-one to the Universal Championship with, enough time and not a lot of shenanigans, which I'm sure we might get from the game.
Probably.
We got a triple threat on the other show, so I think we'll be good.
Exactly. Now, speaking of talking, Evan, you alluded earlier in the show that you host a TV show every Saturday morning that airs on Madhouse TV and is available streaming on demand 24/7, Ustream.tv, called Legends TV.
Every Saturday morning, if you like old school Joe Franklin, Ed Sullivan, we have indie wrestlers, poets, magicians, actors, singers. It's a crazy mix, and check it out this Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern at madhousetv.com, and also check out the Wrestling Then and Now documentary featuring Killer Kowalski, Don Dr. Death Arnold, Homicide, and many, many more. Nikolai's in it as well, and that's on Amazon Video on Demand, and it features yours truly.
Well, who's coming up on your show this week?
We've got multiple indie wrestlers. We got an R&B singer, Sheldon Price, out of Philly. We got poet John Winnell, and whoever else may turn up at the door. It's always an eclectic mix, as we like to say.
And you never know, you may one day get a visit once and for all, finally, from yours truly.
That's right, the Curry Man, John Curry.
Do it better than Chris Daniels did anyway. But on that note, guys, that is going to do it for tonight's show. Thank you, Brandon, for sticking with me through 3 hours of technical shenanigans.
I got to talk to you, got to talk to Chris, Evan.
Mark, the conversation that will never be heard.
It was amazing. I even talked to Mike a little bit. It was good.
I heard the one with you and Mike, but
He's he's got a good story about the SmackDown Philly show. I'm sure he'll share next week.
Hopefully. So, also, thank you to Evan. Thank you to Chris for taking time out of your late night, the wee hours of prime time, to come hang out with us.
Anytime. It was a pleasure talking to you, John, Brandon, Evan. It was an absolute pleasure finally getting to speak to you on the radio show. And thanks a lot for having me on, John.
I want you to know I have friends who are named Chris Michael and Chris Michaels.
Okay, there you go. You can't do any better than that. Besides John Michael.
One guy used to be in WWE. He used to do some TV for them. Chris Michaels back in the 80s, 90s. Yeah.
Small world. So, on that note, guys, the only thing I'm going to leave with before my usual shenanigans is, of course, we're getting ready to head off the air, and what happens? The Jets are winning.
I know. You probably just jinxed it now. I'm sorry.
More than likely, JETS does mean just end the season.
Oh, screw the Jets for losing to the Bengals, by the way. Damn it.
Signed, disgruntled Browns fan.
That would be all.
Yeah, I hate the Bengals.
That would be all Browns fans. Disgruntled Browns fans.
So on that note, guys, thank you for listening this week. Be good, be safe, and Lord willing, you guys will catch us back. Facebook.com/MadeOfAMadness, at John MEM Radio, at WWE BNRL, at Evan_Ginzburg, at he doesn't have one, at the Mark Madison, and at Darman Rockwell. But Facebook.com/MadeOfAMadness. We may have a couple of shows next week, so definitely check there for news on when we're going to have the shows. Hopefully we'll have that in the next couple of days. So, yeah, on that note, guys, signing off for the night, for the week. And like I said, Lord willing, you guys will tune in next week. Have a good week, everybody, a weekend. See ya.
Hello? Hello?
Welcome to Staples.
Staples guy, I've resolved to save my office money in 2017.
Well, during Staples' January printing event, you save big when you buy one HP ink and get the second 40% off.
Oh, that kind of savings will impress the boss. Maybe this year he'll stop calling me new guy Nick.
Well, there are worse nicknames.
I've worked there 6 years, and my name's Doug.
Resolve to save during Staples' January printing event. Buy one HP ink and get the second 40% off. Staples, make more happen.
Ends 1/14/17. See store staples.com for details. Restrictions may apply.
Welcome to Staples.
Staples guy, I've resolved to save my office money in 2017.
Well, during Staples' January printing event, you save big when you buy one HP ink and get the second 40% off.
Oh, that kind of savings will impress the boss. Maybe this year he'll stop calling me new guy Nick.
Well, there are worse nicknames.
I've worked there 6 years, and my name's Doug.
Resolve to save during Staples' January printing event. Buy one HP ink and get the second 40% off. Staples, make more happen.
Ends 1/14/17. See store staples.com for details. Restrictions may apply.